Hey guys, Bran here. Today I have something really important for you guys, but it's not so fun. It's not so much fun of a thing. We've heard a lot of not so great things happening in the greater Dead by Daylight community. I'm not going to get too much into it because a lot of it's very messy, and I think I just want to highlight that there's been a lot of bad things and bad situations happening, especially to the younger members of the community, whether that be in people's discords, twitters, whatever, and it's unfortunate. It's not just one incident, but it's more than one. And I'm sure you know the ones I'm referring to, but with that, I've been looking into some general reminders on how to be safe out there in these uncertain times. Obviously these aren't like, we'll just band-aid it, if you just follow these, nothing bad will happen, but like, hopefully this helps, because there are things that like we can do as a community and things you can do to be safer out there. So I want to cover these things to hopefully kind of like, do a refresher on all this stuff. So maybe we can, make the community better as a whole. Okay, so the first thing, and this seems like it would be like a no-brainer, but I think, it is what it is. Any personal info should be avoided. This should be like your name, even selfies, as sucky as that is. Your location, like any like when people ask where I'm from, I say the Midwest, right? I try to say the Midwest, try to be like vague, right? Because the sad fact of the matter, something as innocent as like just taking a picture of yourself could be used nefariously by other people, and they can do things with like this information without your permission and bring a lot of pain to your life. So even though like it may seem like, oh well, I'm in a trusted community, I'm in a trusted community Discord for the streamer or something, you never know how people are going to take this, and you never know who these people are. So try to be more conscientious about what you're putting out there and how those things could be potentially turned in a bad way. Even if it's in a group of trusted people, always be safe with that stuff, even if you feel like you're in a trusted environment, because you never know how people are going to use that to turn it against you. I think this next one's a really big one. Be careful what you say. Like, be very careful what you say. What goes on the internet typically stays there, no matter how much you try to scrub it. So, like, think before you say things. There's a lot of people who I'm not gonna get too much into this because it's a pretty serious video. Some people just have really, like, they just don't get the gravity of the things they say, and some people do. Some people say stupid stuff. Some people say it with actual nefarious means. I'm not here to sort that out. I'm just here to say that, like, if it's gonna possibly be taken that way, possibly, maybe don't say it at all. And people seem to have this idea that, like, if I say it in DMs, that's like a private space, and this never will affect anything. Like, no, that is not the case. You need to be careful what you're saying and doing wherever you are on the internet. You got to be very careful about how you're treating people and how you're talking to people. That never turns off. That never goes away. You always have to be careful about what you say to people, and like trying to be good in all aspects to people all the time. I think this one is probably one of the more important ones that I want to bring up. This is probably like if you've not listened to me so far, this is like the super duper important one. Say no. If something makes you uncomfortable, always walk away. Like, no matter what pressures are being levied against you by a community, by a streamer, by a personality, by whatever, always say no. If something's uncomfortable, you essentially, your body or your mind is telling you, hey, this is a red flag. Guys, this is a red flag. And if your body or your mind is telling you, hey, I got this gut feeling that this is a red flag, you need to respect that. You have to respect that. It doesn't matter what people are saying to you. You got to trust that gut feeling that, hey, this doesn't feel right. This boundary needs to stay. That gut feeling of like, hey, this doesn't feel right, you got to go with it. You got to set that hard boundary and not let it get overstepped. You just have to. I think this next one's more of like a step up on the other one. It's kind of like they're, the same school of thought. Trust your gut. Something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't place unnecessary trust in people. I think this has been the biggest thing that I've seen. These are problems like I have had personally with people, although this was more in like MMOs and stuff like that, but like I have just trusted people on the internet just because they were nice to me, or trust people on the internet because they were pretending to lend an ear to me. You don't know who these people are. Like at the end of the day, like no matter how they portray themselves as a person online, that is a face that they are putting up. You don't know who that person truly is on the other side of that computer, what their intentions are, what their true nature is. You can never know that. So don't place unnecessary trust in people. It doesn't matter if somebody has 1,000 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers, 200,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers. Like, none of this stuff matters. Like, that does not in any way signify that they are a trustworthy or even a good person in the slightest. So do not put that unnecessary trust in someone just because they seem to have a lot of weight or pull or seem charismatic or seem like they care. You got to always have your guard up. You always do, because you don't know who that other person is on the other side of that screen. If something uncomfortable does happen, if you end up in one of these awful situations, do reach out to someone for trusted help. And that's really hard to do, and that's why you don't see it come out a lot, is because, you know, it is so hard to do, and a lot of people discount it right away. Like a lot of people like immediately make it into a sides thing. I don't feel like there's a lot of people that usually like try to see what actually happened. There's always like sides, and that's why it's so hard to come out with this stuff to like trust in someone with it, because it becomes a dramatized thing like really quickly. So it's like it's hard for people to come out with that. So make yourself available to be someone who, if something goes wrong, that they can come to you, that they can come talk to you, that they can be there for you. And if you're in that situation yourself, you know, reach out to somebody, because you have more people out there for you than it seems that care about you and want to support you and get you out of that bad situation. But you too, and this kind of segues into the next point, is like, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Sometimes it's hard for people to realize that these things are even happening to them, you know, like a lot of people, especially since, you know, a lot of the problems that we've been seeing are happening to the younger audience. These people are still trying to figure out like who they are and like how life works, you know, much less having to navigate if they're being manipulated, taken advantage of, etc. So it's like, it's hard to to even realize that these things are happening, you know. So we need as like members of this community is to just keep an eye out. I'm not saying like form a task force or anything, but I mean like just keep an eye out, you know. There's a lot of people out there. I think we should generally just be on our toes, make sure that, you know, people aren't being taken advantage of. And if we see something that seems kind of suspicious, kind of be not just like let that slide, and kind of like look into that or ask about it and inquire about it, that sort of thing. The next one is to hold each other accountable. If someone you know like seems suspicious, like things seem like they're off, just don't let that like go under the rug. Definitely call that out. Don't let that behavior be tolerated just because it's subtle, right? I think a lot of the reason this stuff flies under the radar is because it's disguised as jokes. It's disguised as like an offhanded comment or something like that. And essentially people aren't being direct about it, so we kind of just like let it go, because it's that gray area of uncertainty. But like you gotta like sift into that gray area. You can't let people sit comfortably in that gray area. You don't let it be tolerated just because it's like a subtle thing. You gotta, even if you're wrong, like be like, hey, that seemed kind of weird. What was that all about? You know, like something as simple as that can just like dissuade that behavior at the best that you can. Like you have to, for the safety of others. I said this earlier, but I want to retread this because it kind of tied it in with something else. It's just because somebody is a content creator, sometimes somebody is a celebrity or whatever, does not mean that they are inherently good people. I think we've seen quite a few content creators who kind of like make their name off of being bad people. You know, influence does not equal any sort of good morality. And you don't know what these people are going to do. You just don't. You don't know what these people are up to. You don't know what their intentions are, and you don't know what they're going to do. Just because they have a high subscriber count, just because they have a high influence in the internet space, does not inherently mean they're good people. So don't trust somebody just because they have influence. I think this last one is probably the other most important one. Like all of them are important, don't get me wrong, but like the two big ones are you know, holding your boundaries and clearly defining your boundaries. And the second one that I think is the most important is many people are affected by these situations. So be patient and be supportive. Be patient and be supportive to those people who have had these horrible situations happen. Coping with this stuff really isn't easy, and a lot of people don't even realize like the extent of how bad the situation was until it comes out, right? A lot of people don't understand that, like, hey, wow, that was not okay in any way, shape, or form, and I was not in a good spot. So there's a lot to unpack when those situations happen. So be patient and supportive when people say things about this and what they're going through, because it's not easy stuff. So don't try to nickel and dime them. Don't try to be like, well, they didn't react the right way, so I'm not gonna support them anymore. Don't do stuff like that. Don't do stuff like that, because, like, you know, it's weird. It's a tough situation. So, like, it's just hard. But yeah, the stuff's rough stuff, and it's hard to unpack. So, you know, be patient, stick with it. It's not going to be a quick process. It's not just like, oh, hey, we've solved the situation, now everything's fine. Like, they're going to deal with that. It's hard. It's a hard process from start to finish for somebody to go through all this. So be patient with those people and be very, very sympathetic and empathetic and caring to those people. So I know that wasn't, you know, too much of a fun video, but hopefully this keeps us aware and active and trying to prevent further situations like this from happening. We can all do better, I think, at protecting and caring for fellow community members. I think we could definitely step it up a fair bit, and I think this is some of the stuff that I just said is like stuff we can do together to make the community a safer place, and really, like, care and protect everyone and try to make everything better as a result. So yeah, I know, once again, not a very bright or lighthearted video, but hopefully this stuff is, like, kind of a good refresher for things to do that you can do, not only as a person in the situation, but like as a bystander of the situation, as, you know, somebody who, you know, just like anybody, right, who is in the community. And, you know, because this is something that we all deal with. This is something we all deal with, directly or indirectly. It affects us all as a whole. When the community hurts, everybody hurts. So we can do better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, friends. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much again. I'll see you when I see you, buds. Goodbye.